Welcome to Retrologic. I'm Dan Caparello here with John Cummins. And this week we have our special guest, Adam Caparello, who is my one and only brother from another mother, to talk to us about, so much stuff. We're going to talk about like Nintendo Direct stuff and Blizzard announcement stuff, and then other stuff that we're going to talk about. It's just
stuff.
An episode full of stuff.
I'm really looking forward to the other stuff.
Yeah,
because that always fascinates me.
This is the best show to talk about with stuff happening in it. And Retrologic isn't just a podcast. It's also a retro game store. You can visit Retrologic.games to check out our growing inventory of cleaned, tested, and authentic retro games. Adam, how is Texas?
Well, if you've been paying attention to the news lately, you would have a very well painted picture of what Texas has been like this past week.
Messy.
And I don't want to talk about it.
So did it warm up yet?
Oh yeah, I was out there sweating today, and part of the reason that I was out there sweating was getting rid of the half a giant tree that fell onto my driveway.
Oh my gosh.
From all of the ice. So yeah, I was out there like a lumberjack, and I mentioned to my neighbor who came out and helped me. I said people were literally dying of hypothermia inside their homes last week, and now we're out here sweating in short sleeves.
It was like 70 degrees the day that I left for vacation. Like,
you're working on your father figure out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Incredible. And then, John, you had a bit of a snowstorm yourself, but you guys were a little more prepared than we were.
Well, yeah, we had the same snowstorm. It's just that we do get a little bit more winter weather than you guys do in Missouri, so we're a little bit more prepared. I wouldn't say like greatly prepared. They did run out of salt pretty early, and it was sub-zero for a couple days, which we don't usually see.
And
but,
I'm
sub-zero.
I'm here in sunny California, and now I am, and I think I picked the wrong week to come out because my sister was telling me like, oh yeah, it was like 60 degrees all last week, and we were so cold, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that you had such a hard time with the 60-degree weather.
It got to 60 today here, and it was hot. So yeah. Yeah,
so I think
I can handle 60.
We're back to like normal February weather, which is very good. And tomorrow, I wish I had done it today because I could talk about it. But tomorrow, I plan on hitting up some local San Diego retro shops. There's a couple of them out here, and I want to see what they got going on. So that's going to be fun.
Take pictures, document this.
Yes,
this is great.
So Adam, what did you?
Some good stuff.
What did you buy? What did you play this week, Adam?
Well, most of this week was obviously spent trying not to die. And the game that we were playing was survival mode. But due to the magic of portable technology, and particularly my laptop and my Nintendo Switch, I did get to play some wonderful stuff. Number one, I downloaded Panzer Dragoon Remake on the Switch, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. However, I wasn't a rich kid, so I never had a Sega Saturn, and I never played the original Panzer Dragoon. I played and loved Panzer Dragoon Orta on the Xbox, and I wish that they would, come out with a remake or just a re-release, an HD version of that, because I would pay the asking price for that. I loved that game. So playing through that, I also picked up Jet Set Radio, and it is on Steam, which surprised me. When it came out originally in the States on the Dreamcast, it was Jet Grind Radio.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, that had caused some confusion down the line because the sequel on the Xbox was Jet Set Radio Future, not Jet Grind Radio Future or whatever. So I remember that always causing some confusion when it came up, when I was a game store employee and manager. So yeah, I wish that they would release that as well. I mean, what is with all of these? I think that for some reason there were a lot of Sega games that came out on the Xbox that for some reason they like to pretend never existed.
Oh yeah.
Maybe it's because it was kind of their first foray into being a third party rather than a hardware manufacturer. And I don't know. I don't know why, but especially games like Gun Valkyrie, which I loved that game. And very few people even know what I'm talking about when I talk about Gun Valkyrie or whenever it comes up, because it was just so universally ignored. And it was, I think, critically panned. And I think the main culprit was the control scheme, which
really?
I never actually had a problem with. Yeah, it just kind of got, it's been a long time since I've played it, but it just kind of has somewhat of an awkward control scheme for a third person shooter, basically. Sort of similar to, remember PNO3, Project Number 3 on the GameCube. Yeah. I don't remember if it ended up coming out on any other platforms, maybe PlayStation 2. Honestly, don't remember on that front. Maybe someone can look that up for me. But you need an assistant that you can be like, hey, look that up, Google that. Am I just talking out of know what?
Usually I'm my own assistant.
There you go. Assist yourself. But
GameCube exclusive.
That
like
game just has
Capcom GameCube exclusive.
Yes. It was one that didn't move after they said it wouldn't.
Oh, they did that with Beautiful Joe and some of the other ones, right? They're like, this is going to be a GameCube exclusive.
Just Resident Evil 4. That was it, right?
Yeah.
Just those two.
About that.
I think there was another one too.
No, there was
like three or 4 games that were called like Capcom 4 or whatever. I
know Resident Evil 4 was one of them, right?
But the way you said Piano 3, it sounded like you said Piano 3. So I was kind of confused.
PNO3, and it just had such a strange, seemingly rigid control feeling, because it was almost like you were trying to like dance through the levels, and it was really set up with that kind of rhythmic.
Killer 7 was the other one.
Yeah, I was gonna say
PS2.
Killer 7 was the one I was thinking of, but it moved. Yeah.
So Sorry, Adam. I got the info. I wanted to spew it out there. Go ahead.
No. That's great. And that's what I love about this podcast. Is talking about one game leads to talking about another game, and then you forgot where you started. But we were talking about Gun Valkyrie, which brings me to the point. Sega, if you're listening, which you're not, but please, Sega, release Jet Set Radio Future, Gun Valkyrie, and all these other great games that came out on the Xbox that you are pretending don't exist.
I've been looking at prices for Jet Grind Radio because I want to grab it for Dreamcast. There's really only a couple ways to even play that game. It's very expensive. It's like a $50 game, and
well, it's on Steam,
and it's high on my priorities. So like, I want to make sure I grab it. It just, trying to find a cheap one it's tough. So
the sequel for the Xbox is probably the opposite. You can probably buy that game for $5. Yeah,
you get the 2-pack with Jet Grind Radio Future and Sega GT or something like that, and it's like $5. Yeah, it's super cheap because it was a pack in.
Yeah, that was a pack in. I remember that.
Awesome. Well, that was a fun little tangent.
That's about it.
And then what about
everything else was, building fires and trying not to die of hypothermia.
Yeah. Ironically, for all the time I spent home last week, I didn't really play anything. So yeah, I feel you on that. What about you, John? Looks like you
I
have
bought all kinds of things.
You have a quite a list here of pickups. You've been on a roll lately.
Yeah. So I picked up Patapon 3 for the PSP. This is just, I have the first two, and I don't think they're very long games, so I'm just gonna like knock through them eventually. And they're cheap. They were like, you can get them for like $5 to $7 a piece, so they're easy to come by. On your recommendation, I found the Ape Escape game that is similar to the original that's on the PSP.
Loose.
On the loose.
I love Ape Escape.
So I picked that up. And at that same local shop, they had LittleBigPlanet for the PSP, so I picked it up. It was also like $5 complete.
Wow.
And this store had... It's kind of funny. My wife noticed them. I had my wife and my kids with me that day. And my wife was like, hey, those are those bongos we used to play, when we were in college. And I was like, yeah, that's Donkey Konga and the bongos there. And she's like, well, why don't we get some? And we could play it again. So the retro store had a in-box set of bongos and a used, like, out-of-box set. They wanted 25 for the ones that were loose, and it included Donkey Konga, like you could see it. They were selling them together. And the complete in-box set didn't have anything on it. It just had $30 on it. Didn't say it came with a game or anything. So I bought both sets thinking I was going to just play the first Donkey Konga. Well, when I get home, the other set that's in box is actually like a brand new set of bongos that's never been opened, and inside the box was Donkey Konga 2. So basically I got both games and both bongos for like $50, $55. Yeah.
And it wasn't the Donkey Konga 2 pack-in where it came with the game. And it was just, it looked like when you bought just the bongos, but the game was just randomly inside the box.
Yeah, it's one of those where like, I don't know if the store just like took the guy's word for it, and like he said they were brand new. But I think like the guy just set the game in there. But the bongos
was the game
were still
sealed?
No, game was not sealed. Game was used. The bongos were in the plastic still. Had the twist tie, the black twist tie on it still, and like
wow,
they're pristine. They're mint.
That's
so
strange.
I could tell they haven't been played. So now I have a complete in-box new set of bongos that play awesome, and the U set plays pretty good. The kids
they kind of wear down over time.
Yeah, I picked up a brand new set of bongos off eBay not too long ago, maybe a year ago, and it was the Donkey Konga set. So it came with the game. The game was sealed, like sealed plastic. Nice. And I used the bongos, and then I had a guys' night. A guys come over to play, and they wanted to play Donkey Konga, and I was like, okay, I'll break the seal because the game's cheap sealed. It's not an expensive game, so I broke the seal. We played it, but it was pretty cool to open a sealed GameCube game. I must say, it was pretty nostalgic.
Yeah,
had all the paperwork in there, so yeah,
that's awesome. Did you still have the code in there to register it on my Nintendo?
Did that? Was that too early?
I think that was too early.
I don't know if it did. I don't know.
I think Wii and DS were the first ones to do.
No, later GameCube games had it. I have some GameCube games that had mine.
There were GameCube games on there. I just don't remember when they started.
That one might have been too early.
Donkey Konga was like 2004, right?
Oh, so, maybe not.
So that was a later one for GameCube. Which kind of surprised me because I didn't know this, but Donkey Konga came out before Guitar Hero did.
Yeah.
So I was kind of thinking it was the opposite. Like I thought it was kind of Nintendo's answer to Guitar Hero.
It was Nintendo's answer to Taiko Drum Master.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess. Or what's the one with the maracas that was on the Dreamcast?
Samba de Amigo.
Samba de Amigo.
Samba de Amigo.
Now I got to find price for that one.
What a game.
So while you're going down that hole, I'll continue. The same store, I had enough. They have a deal where like you buy two, get one free on games at a certain price. So I also got GoldenEye Rogue Agent for the GameCube and Turok Evolution for the GameCube.
I love Turok Evolution.
And they were both like complete in box, like super. This local store has like some of the best like they don't hardly buy anything that doesn't have the original cases and artwork and stuff. So it's pretty nice.
Okay,
awesome.
so I'm gonna do a little mini
Prices Retro.
mini Prices Retro here, because this is kind of weird, and I'm trying to look at like, okay, all right,
I bet it's like $200 for the complete.
I'm okay. Yeah, okay, let's do it. Okay, what do you think a complete? Well, I can't find one with the bongos. That's the problem, or with the maracas. All I see are games, so this price is probably very inaccurate.
Do you
Let's
think?
see.
Well, surely they sold it with.
Yeah, but there's no way to
maracas
distinguish on
together.
price charting between the game itself and the set with the bongos. So I'll have to do some eBay searching. Never mind. Let's move on. But this is saying the game complete is 40. But
Yeah, that's what I was saying. If you found one that was like complete,
that's
with
just the disc.
box and the maracas and everything,
Yeah.
I bet it's like $200.
That's just the disc. Okay,
so-
sorry. Move along.
I know we're going to talk a little bit about some things that were in the Nintendo Direct, but I did get pre-orders in for the Skyward Sword Joycons, which I was pretty excited about. And I also got a set of the 35th anniversary of Mario pin set, the second set. So
Oh,
I
nice.
got both sets now coming.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was what I've been waiting for, doing all these stupid missions. Keeping up with all of it to get another pin set.
All
It
right.
can get kind of tedious.
I
Yeah,
gave up on
it was
those.
crazy.
I can't. Okay, so
But,
a complete set of just the bongos with there comes with a whole sensor bar thing, 2 maracas, the whole shebang is running you about $130.
Nice.
Yeah. So, no thanks.
Go buy one.
Too bad.
Nah.
Ugh.
Put that towards Gotcha Force. All right.
So-
All right, John, tell us about what you played.
So we did play a little bit of Donkey Konga. My wife did not last very long. We played like a few songs, and the kids took over. So we let the kids played for hours, man. And then the next day rolled around, and they're like, "Can we play again?" And I was like, "Yeah, just go get it. We'll set it up." So the kids have been bongoing away for like
Nice.
days now since
That's
we bought
great.
these, which is exactly what I did when the game first came out too. So I can imagine the excitement. So I also grabbed Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury, and I played through both. So that's basically the majority of the game time I had over the last week or so. And then I found a little bit of time to play the demo for Project Triangle Strategy.
Yeah, let's
Which I know
save let's save that discussion
Yeah,
for
I
when
know
we
you
did
did too,
the
so we
direct,
can-
because that's going to be a pretty good discussion.
Yes. And I'm also, one last thing, I'm trying to play through Bravely Default again before the second game comes out. So I've just had my 3DS or my 2DS out and kind of putting a few minutes here and there at that when I can, like on breaks or stuff at work. So that's basically what I've been playing.
Awesome, dude. You had a lot going on there, and I love to see it. I had already I bought a bunch of stuff that was supposed to come in, and then the ice storm, so none of it got delivered. But I was able,
No.
I was able to pick up. Actually, let me pull it up, because it was some pretty interesting stuff. For pretty cheap, I got a copy of Toe Jam and Earl for Sega Genesis loose, and a copy of General Chaos loose, which I think I already talked about. Yeah. So that's
We are going to play General Chaos. We actually had planned this past Monday to get together and do the Monday stream together and play some General Chaos.
yeah.
But obviously that didn't happen because some other kind of General Chaos took its place.
Lots of chaos. And so I also finally got Paper Mario Origami King, which I wanted to get when it first came out. Don't know why I didn't, but I'm excited to play that on Switch.
So
And I got a really good price on a copy of Grandia 2 for the Dreamcast. I got it for like 27.
Yes.
Um,
One of my
Yeah, that's
favorite
amazing.
RPGs of all time.
so it's so good, and I know I could get the Switch version, and I probably will eventually. But like, it's just one of those games I have to own. You know, you have those
There were
games.
days back in my college years where I remember this day very specifically. I woke up on a Saturday, got a bowl of cereal, sat down to play Grandia 2, played it all the way until I realized I was hungry and it was like 2 in the afternoon. Made a frozen pizza and then kept playing until like 4 in the morning. Like literally just something like an 18-hour
Binge playing.
just playing Grandia 2. And I've never done that with any other game, not even close.
It's a crazy good RPG with probably one of my favorite battle systems in any RPG. So fun. It's like a cross between like an arena and a turn-based battle system. It's amazing.
So good.
Also, I pretty much only played Borderlands and Project Triangle Strategy demo this week, so I don't really need to talk anymore about those because we are going to talk about those later. But first, we've got some The Price is Retro to jump into. So if this is your first time playing Price is Retro with us, I will tell you how it goes. I'm going to list off 4 to 5 games, their condition, the system they're for, and you are going to guess the price of the entire list, the total price of all 4 games, based on PriceCharting.com's current valuation. So they could fluctuate over time if you're listening to this in the past, but this is the current price. And whoever of the 3 of us gets the closest to the correct answer on both of the lists wins my personal eternal respect and gratitude. High stakes.
I don't already have that.
No, you least of all. So let's just.
Yeah. I've already earned it a few times.
Well, then let's do this.
Yeah, John has won it a couple times with this game. I don't know. We'll just see how it goes. This is just for funsies. Adam, since you're our guest, you get to list it off first.
Okay, great. So I prepared this last week, and so it's topical and it's got a theme to it, and I'm sure you'll figure it out pretty much right away. However, here are my 4 games in no particular order. Number 1, which actually recently was released on the Nintendo Switch Online, Fire and Ice for the NES, complete in box.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, this is a game, right?
He went hard mode. He went hard mode, John.
Ice Climber for the NES. You get the theme yet?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Complete in box as well. Snowboard Kids for the N64, loose.
Oh, loose. Good. Thank you.
And last but not least, no one has complete in box N64 games. We don't do that.
You'd be surprised.
Donkey Kong Country.
I know at least one person
Tropical
in our
Freeze.
Discord who has a lot of
I know.
inboxed. Cough,
Yeah.
Jason.
I'm sure there's more than one. It seems like it was a lot more difficult to get a hold of I feel like it's easier to get complete in box NES games than it is to get 64 games. Anyway, last one, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
Oh my gosh.
For the Nintendo Switch.
Okay.
Complete in box.
Yeah,
so I'm going to run it down real quick one more time. Fire and Ice for the NES, complete in box. Ice Climber for the NES, complete in box. Snowboard Kids for the N64, loose.
Okay.
And Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze for the Nintendo Switch, complete in box.
Okay. I have my price. My guess for this lot is $740. John?
Let's see. I think that I'm gonna go a little bit less and say 500 even.
All right.
Is this where
John
I
is
do the
putting
big
in
reveal?
putting in our guesses, and whenever he's done, you can reveal. Go ahead.
I'm ready.
Actual retail price of all 4 games,
Love it.
according to blah.com, whatever it is.
Price
Shout
charting.
out one more time. What is it?
Pricecharting.com.
Price charting. $495.
Man, that Fire and Ice screwed me up bad.
Almost right on the money. $5 off.
Jeez.
Pretty close.
Look at that. Dude is a professional.
He's really good at this.
That's impressive.
Man, Fire and Ice really messed me up.
Or he could just have pricecharting.com up as we play and
No,
just make it a little bit
I
off
trust
page.
him. I trust him
I'm just-
more than that.
I'm kidding.
Okay, go. We're gonna change up the format of how we do this a little bit. Go ahead and do your list of individual games now, Adam.
It's just eating you, isn't it?
Oh,
Yeah,
Fire
it
and Ice
is.
for the NES completed
really
box is $309 for Fire and Ice.
Yeah.
$309 complete in box.
I threw a
Ice
fiver
Climber
at that.
complete in box.
$500 for that was my guess.
I mean,
I was thinking
If
3
I
because
hadn't-
loose is about 175.
yeah.
I wouldn't have, I probably would have guessed closer to 500 as well. Ice Climber complete in box is 105. Snowboard Kids loose is 42, and Tropical Freeze is 39.
Gosh, I was so close
I was
on all
almost-
of them except
Yeah.
Fire and Ice. Man. All right.
All right.
I'm gonna go
You
ahead
wanna
and
list
go
yours next?
Go next. I'll
Yep.
go ahead and go next there, John. So I also have a theme, and you're just gonna have to get it, as we say. So first game is Gunstar Heroes for the Sega Genesis, complete in box. Next game is Gunstar Superheroes for the Game Boy Advance, cartridge only. Next game is Guardian Heroes for the Sega Saturn, complete in box.
Oh, jeez.
That
You said your brother went hard mode. I think yours is.
idea.
You know, you gotta throw a Saturn game in there now every time.
Yeah.
Well, you
just
got
like
on
that.
mine for throwing Fire and Ice at you, but that literally was just in everyone's
Zeitgeist.
consciousness because it just came out on NES Online. So
Well,
Throwing
sorry,
a
not
Saturn
sorry.
game in your Price's Retro lot is like opening the door, throwing a grenade in, and shutting it.
And the last one is Advanced Guardian Heroes for the Game Boy Advance, cartridge only.
all right,
Adam has a look that says, I didn't know that existed.
yep,
All right.
precisely.
Whoever is ready for the
I've got it.
guess, go ahead.
I'm just gonna go with $240.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna go bigger and say $575.
That's a lot bigger.
We're gonna have
Threw
to.
in a Saturn game that's complete.
Yeah, we've learned our lesson there. So might need to go to the numbers on this one, John, because it's pretty close. The actual retail value is $359. Adam, you had me saying actual retail value. I didn't even mean to say that.
That's
300
actual retail price.
$359.
'Cause the price is right.
Yeah.
I was pretty close.
John?
I bet you it was that Saturn game that I undershot.
All right. So go ahead and list off your.
No, who won
values.
first?
Oh, we still have to do my list.
No, I know. I want to know who was closer on this guess on my list.
Oh, your brother was. I mean, I said 575.
It seemed pretty close, though. Was it not close?
No, it was like 100 off.
Okay. Just my
So
quick
his
math
guess
was wrong.
His guess was 119 off, and mine was 216 off.
Okay.
I will say, this puts you out altogether already from winning, Dan. Because my total difference is already lower than your first guess.
Oh,
means-
And I've already done both. Your brother can still win.
All right.
You don't get your own personal
No.
respect.
My self-respect has
Your brother
flown.
could be the first. Could be the
don't get
first
that.
guest winner.
Yes.
Wait, no.
Let's do it.
That's it? We've never had a guest win before?
We never have, no.
Really? All
Gonna
right.
be the first.
Come on,
I'm
Adam.
telling you.
You can do it.
Gonna do it.
I mean, Nick was really close.
No. He won something else. He won a very different
Yeah.
prize. Okay, so the prizes for each individual game, we have Gunstar Heroes on the Sega Genesis Complete surprised me at $129. Because not even Hyperstone Heist gets that high. So Gunstar Superheroes for the Game Boy Advance, cartridge only, $30. Guardian Heroes on the Sega Saturn, $180. Complete.
Oh, I wasn't far off on that
Yeah.
one. I put that at like 150.
And I was actually shocked too, John, that it was that low, to be honest, because that's a pretty infamous,
me too.
Infamous game.
Why is it infamous?
It's just one of the few Sega Saturn games that people have heard of and like. So,
Oh. I don't think that's what that word means.
I don't know. Whatever. I just host a podcast. I'm not good with words.
No, I thought there was some story behind it, like there was some controversy.
Your brother has his thesaurus out. He's like looking at it. He's like, yeah.
Yeah, I've got price charting up, and Adam has the thesaurus. That's how that goes.
My book, not thesaurus.com, my actual book.
He's very fast with his
With
fingers.
paper pages.
Advanced Guardian Heroes for the Game Boy Advance is only a $20 cartridge. I might try to find that one. Because
Man, see, those
good.
Game Boy Advance games are what got me. I thought they were going to be quite a bit higher.
really? Oh, they were cartridge only though.
Yeah, I know, but like Game Boy Advance games are crazy nowadays. Like you never know. Some of them
I
are
guess
like
that's true.
floating around $80.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can
Mostly
get
the
up there.
Pokemons and all that. Okay, John, you've got the final list here. Hit us with it.
Yep.
Round 3.
Mine has a theme too, and I want to see if you guys can guess what it is at the end. So the first game on my list is Drill Dozer for the GBA.
Oh,
Loose.
man. Is that the one with the Rumble Pack in it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's really good too.
I had that one.
The second game on my list is Yoshi for the NES. Loose.
Oh, I had that game.
Puzzle game?
The third game is Mindel Palace for the NES. Loose.
Say that one again. Mindel Palace?
Yes.
I don't even know what that is.
Can I get a genre on that?
It's a puzzle game.
Okay.
And the last game is Smart Ball on the SNES. Loose.
Oh my god.
Smart Ball? Oh,
Yep.
I'm trying to remember if that's the
Okay.
one with the smiley face on it or the one... No, I'm thinking of Glove Ball. Okay.
Yeah.
You have
That's on
some
the
weird
NES.
games here.
They're a little bit obscure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that
But there's
third
a,
one
but
I've
there's a
never heard of.
there's definitely a theme here, and we'll see if you guys figure it out.
Yeah, I don't know that I caught the theme at all. All right, I'm gonna go $95 on these.
Okay.
Adam, you have a guess?
I'm gonna go. Yeah, but see, your guess is throwing me off. So I'm just gonna go with my original guess and not try to change it based on your guess because that's not fair anyway.
That's
So
the
what I
integrity
had
move,
was
yes.
260. Yeah, so I'm going with 265. See, I can't get the
Alright.
theme because I don't know what that third game even is.
Okay, so no guesses on the theme, huh?
Well, I'm thinking about it.
List the games off again real quick.
Okay, so we have Drill Dozer for the GBA,
Okay.
Yoshi for the NES, Mindel Palace for the NES, and Smart Ball for the SNES.
What is Mindel Palace? M-I-N?
Mendel.
I mean,
I'm gonna look it up because I already said my guess.
is Drill
I have
Dozer
no
a puzzle
idea.
game?
Oh wait, are these all Hudson Soft games?
These are all Game Freak games. Game Freak developed games.
What?
Games.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, actually.
See, the one that got me was Yoshi. Like, I didn't know that Game Freak was even developing games as early as Yoshi.
Oh, look at
found
that.
out they're actually developing even earlier than that.
Wow, I'm on here on Wikipedia, and you are so right about that. Yeah, Smart Ball was the one I thought with the dumb smiley face. Oh no, Smart Ball's different. Look at that. It's got the little disc
No,
guy.
it's different.
That's different.
Yep.
Man.
So anyway, the total value of my lot is $104.
I wonder if any of our listeners got that theme. Sorry,
I
Adam.
would say if I had to guess anybody, I would probably wonder if Sam got it.
I would say either Sam or Jason were my two guesses. Jason Lee.
Yep.
They seem to have a wealth of knowledge in the brain.
So.
Oh, one. So I won. I won this lot. I didn't win the whole thing.
You what? Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, you definitely redeemed yourself, but since you were already over my total guess, you were at 254, I was at 221, and your brother was at 280.
Man.
So, I won again this week.
All right. Okay, John.
Somehow.
John's on a roll. Man.
So the third one, which I still am calling the third one because I've heard it spoken 3 or 4 times and I still can't remember what those words are.
Smart Ball?
But no, the third one.
Mendel's Palace?
Mendel's Palace. That threw me way off because I don't know what it is. And then
That's why I asked for a genre, because I had never heard of it. So I feel like that's a good little cheat you can do sometimes. Because if I have no idea if I've never heard of a game, yeah, but if I've never even heard of it, how do I even, you know what I mean? I needed some kind of bearing on what the dealio is.
Yeah, what it is.
Okay, well, congratulations, John, again. You've been kicking my butt lately, and I need to get back into.
Rigged.
I need to get nose to the books and figure out how to beat you next time.
Well, you can't. It's rigged. It's rigged, I tell you.
And if you listening at home want to submit your own list for Prices Retro, hit us up. You can hit me up on Twitter at Retrologic.games, or just DM me at Discord and say, I have a list for Prices Retro, and let's do it. We've got a few weekly topics we want to hit before we jump into this big fat Nintendo Direct and Blizzard announcements thingies.
I'm already exhausted.
Yeah, and we're going to skip our crossplay talk this week because I didn't play any Castlevania, but we'll get back to that on the next episode. So, we have a couple of fun little things to jump into on this day in gaming history. The first one I want to hit is 11 years ago today on the Wii. Endless Ocean launched, which is very interesting. It's hard to call it a game because if you don't know what Endless Ocean is, this was part of when Nintendo was being very experimental with like what a game is. And so Endless Ocean was essentially just like an open world exploration ocean exploring game. Yeah,
It's
simulator.
a scuba simulator.
So there's not a lot of like objectives per se. You kind of just swim around and look at stuff. That being said, they did a really great job nailing like the serenity of that experience. And it is very cheap now because all of those like touch generation games back then are like dirt cheap now. But I thought it was a cool little thing, and I wanted to mention it here. Just kind of say like, wow, that was a time in Nintendo's history when they were all about those like very weird non-gamey experiences. Yeah.
The big one was Nintendogs. Man,
Yeah.
that game sold like hotcakes.
I'm honestly surprised that one never came to Wii. They didn't have like a Wii version of it somehow, you know?
Nintendogs also sold DSs.
Yeah, for real.
That's why the DS is the #1 selling console of all time almost.
Crazy.
Well, #1 Nintendo.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about it. Not much to say about it, but I thought that was cool, so I mentioned it. And then the other game we have for this day in gaming history is 10 years ago today on the DS. Speaking of the DS, Radiant Historia, pretty decent, halfway decent RPG that launched for that system. And this one was one that I know Adam had sunk a little bit of time into back in the day. So I thought you could take a second and tell us just about the game and what the deal is. And
Well, I would certainly call it better than halfway decent. It was actually a really, really good game. And, you know, anybody that is a fan of Final Fantasy or Chrono Trigger, like, they're just going to love it. It's got a really unique battle system and also a really unique kind of way that you're able to progress through the story. Because kind of one of the main basic themes for those that haven't played it or know about it is you've almost got multiple timelines going on, because as part of the whole concept of the game is that you're kind of traversing through the history of that world, but you're able to like go back and change things that happened. So you might progress through a certain moment in time in that world, and then you can have the opportunity to go back and redo it so that you can get a different path. So you can kind of have these alternate timelines going on. So that was a really unique concept to add into a game story, which, you know, I don't feel like it's ever that I know of been done before or since. But the battle system was really cool. It is basically akin to kind of that active turn-based that they started kind of doing with Final Fantasy VII. Square did anyway. But it's also got a tactical aspect to it as well, because the enemies are on like a 3x3 grid. And so you can kind of combo certain moves together to where, you know, any damage that your character does to a character on that square of the grid, you can basically put enemies together so that you're not just doing damage to one enemy at a time. So you might have one person in your party do an attack that shoves the enemy from the first square in front of you to the second square, but there's already an enemy there. So now the next person that does damage in your party damages both of those enemies because they're on the same square. So it's almost like a hybrid of a turn-based RPG with some tactical, you know, because positioning on that grid matters.
That's
so
great.
Party.
It sounds almost like Ogre Tactics. Or I was going to say, John, that reminds me a little bit of how you describe Ogre Battle. Yeah.
Yeah, it did kind of remind me a little bit of that. I played a little bit of that on the 64.
Now, is your party on a grid also?
Oh, God, I'm trying to remember. This was a couple years ago, and I sunk some time into it, but I didn't really play through the entire thing.
I'll have to...
And I honestly don't remember if your party is on a grid or not.
Now, this is a game that I kind of expect to maybe make its way to the Switch at some point, because it got a remake for the 3DS.
Right.
And that's kind of like a thing here of late. Like some of the later 3DS games are coming over to Switch. Yeah, like stuff like Rune Factory 4. And there was another one not too long ago. It was a basically just one of the later 3DS games that is finding second life on the Switch.
Yeah, and I don't remember that game being too like big when it launched, but it certainly deserves to have its hurrah on the Switch.
I think it was pretty late in the DS life cycle.
It was pretty well received because
it launched 2011.
A lot of people wanted the remake. So
yeah, I would buy that instantly if they updated it and put it on the Switch or did a sequel or something.
Yeah, I mean, going from the DS to the Switch, or to the 3DS, I imagine it had quite a bit of improvements made to it.
This is funny. Okay, so Radiant Historia was February 22nd of 2011, and the 3DS launched March 27th.
Yep.
It was like exactly 1 month before, almost exactly a month
Yes.
before the 3DS launched. So
Very late on
Yeah.
DS.
I can't imagine.
It was like those really late cycle Wii games that
Yeah.
actually ended up being some of them really, really good. Xenogears was one of them, right? Or
Xenoblade,
rather.
yeah.
Xenoblade Chronicles, yep.
And there was the last, was it Last Story?
Mm-hmm.
Last
Which
Story.
I remember picking
And
that
Pandora's
up. So
Tower was part of that trio too.
That was the one that I didn't. That was the only one I didn't play was Pandora's Tower. But
That
those
one was
other-
more
those
hack and
really
slash.
late cycle Wii games was
Right.
they were
Really?
fantastic.
Kind of surprised that the other two haven't made it anywhere else, since then.
It was the Last Story.
Yeah.
That
Well,
was it.
and on that note, let's go ahead and take a quick little breaky because we got a ton of news and games and stuff to talk about. Retro stuff coming from the Direct and from the Blizzard announcements. Some news. It is just a packed episode, y'all. So let's take a quick break and we'll be back in a momento. Welcome back from that little tiny break. I peed. Adam peed. John hasn't installed his bathroom yet, so he's just gonna sit there for a while and not pee. So we are doing the Nintendo Direct, but we're not gonna hit everything. We're only focusing on the things that are retro re-releases, remasters, remakes, those kinds of things. The things that retro enthusiasts like us care about. And we're going to just go down the line of release date. So the soonest stuff we're going to talk about first, then we'll hit them down the line to the latest release date. Starting off with Capcom Stadium Arcade, which is already out. It's out right now. You can go play 1943 and Ghosts and Goblins right now for free, which is amazing. They
Is
have
it 1942 or 1943?
It is 3. I confirmed that it was 3. I played a little bit of it just to see how it all played out, and it's great. It's awesome. It's what you typically expect from that kind of experience. They have rewind too on all the games, so that's nice. That's really nice, especially for Ghosts and Goblins.
Yeah, especially
That's a must.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, especially for that.
Buying packs of games, they split them up by like dates, so it's like they have like late 80s, early 90s, and then early 2000s, which I think is pretty cool because depending on what era of gaming you were a kid, you might want a certain era of game and not buy them piecemeal. So it's $15 per pack of games, and there's about 10 games per pack.
I think they have 3 packs available right now.
Yes, yeah. And I think I got those dates right. I'm going to check real quick.
It's kind of weird how they have it set up in the eShop. It's almost as if they're going to sell them individually at some point.
Yeah,
That's what I was going to ask is if
like
you
the
can
packs,
buy them individually.
The packs
or
might
not.
be cheaper. I didn't see anything indicating you could do that yet. You can pre-order the packs right now. And I'm really...
If you go... if you go into the packs, they're listed individually, almost like they do DLC. So like you can go into each individual game and it has its own page. So I thought the way they have it set up, it seems almost like they're going to try to sell these individually also for probably more money, or you can buy the pack.
There's a lot here that I'm excited about. Just to name a few that I'm hype about. Bionic Commando, Forgotten Worlds. What else we got here? Captain Commando. Street Fighter 2, The World Warrior, and then over here, probably the one that I'm most hype about would be Gigawing, which is a very expensive Dreamcast game that has not been re-released yet. So that'll be a for sure pickup for me. That's a pretty expensive little shmup. What about you guys? Did you check out the list and see anything that really hit you?
Like I said, I'm in for Bionic Commando. I'll probably buy that pack.
I actually hadn't researched it that deeply yet, so I'm not even sure all what's in there. I got excited about 1943 because I played so much of that on the NES. But other than that, I actually didn't even realize that it was kind of its own. I thought it was just like a game that would come out, like they do the collections.
Yeah.
and you would buy that, and it would be all the games on there. I didn't realize it was more of a service type thing.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty cool. And as far as I can tell, it's only on Nintendo Switch. It's not on PS4 or Xbox or anything like that. And I'm hoping that since they're creating this kind of third-party service to get these games, that it'll be, if they ever do another platform, it'll be cross-platform and maybe even like future-proofed. So like, you know, when they release more games for it, you can carry your games over to the Switch too, and download the ones you already have and pick up some new ones. I'm hoping. We don't know. We'll see.
But they get less money that way.
That's true. So they probably won't do that. Good point, Adam.
Yeah, no, I just, companies don't like getting less money.
Yeah, and you're giving Capcom a lot more credit than what they normally
Guys,
are willing to do.
I try to stay positive. It's really just my MO here, so... in addition to the arcade stadium, we have Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection, which is coming out on February 25th, pretty soon here, which is a little remake of Ghosts and Goblins, which looks really, really good. Yeah, it looks pretty incredible. The artwork they did for it, totally down for that. Next up, we have Tales from the Borderlands on March 24th. I love Borderlands, but I don't love, like, the stories in Borderlands. They're kind of whatever to me. I like the gameplay of it, so I'm probably going to skip that one as much as I love Borderlands. Seems like yeah. Did you play any of the Tales games, John? Like the...
Nope. I'm not a Telltales.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't do those.
Yeah, so anyway, whatever. Stubbs the Zombie, coming in March. Straight re-release. Love that they're doing this, because that is a game that got totally buried on the Xbox and is now a pretty pricey Xbox game. I think it's one of the few that survived the, like, for some reason every Xbox game is like $5. I don't know why. But yeah,
I'm gonna be honest. I've never heard of this game.
It is okay. Wow, just the disc is $75 on the Xbox.
Whoa.
And $120 on the complete in box. So that's pretty insane. So
that probably is not the other game that I was thinking of on the Xbox that always fetched a pretty hefty price tag was Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah, exactly. So it like matches up with that. I'm so hyped for that. It was built. I remember it coming out when I was working at Game Crazy. Adam, you might remember it too. But it was kind of like a big deal in Austin because the studio that made it was based in Austin, and it was built off of the Halo engine.
Right.
So I think we were more hype about it in our stores than anybody else in the world was. But it is really fun, and it has this hilarious mechanic where you rip your arm off and you attach it to somebody, and now you're in control of that person or animal. So it's got kind of like a Space Station Silicon Valley thing going on there with it. So I'm really excited for that.
That sounds great.
April 15th, we have Saga Frontier. I don't think they're remastering it at all. I think it's just a straight port. That's kind of a cool little obscure RPG from the PlayStation days.
Yep.
Ninja Gaiden Collection. This is yes, I know Adam's excited for that one. The Ninja Gaiden games from the Xbox 360 era. All 3 games being re-released. Comes out June 10th.
I love Ninja Gaiden so much. I love anything ninja related in general more than I should, but Ninja Gaiden in particular is just a beautiful experience.
Awesome.
I remember reading about, and of course now that I'm talking about it, I'm going to forget his name, but basically the lead dude at Team Ninja behind the more recent Ninja Gaiden games, and what the concept was that in other games the enemies are there just for you to kill. They just kind of they're there and waiting for you to kill them.
Yeah.
But in Ninja Gaiden the enemies are actively trying to kill you. That was awesome. The concept that they came into when developing the game, and that really struck me in it, and they delivered on that very well.
And that was around. I'm trying to remember
what-
if the first Ninja Gaiden remake game came out before or after Dark Souls, because Dark Souls had that same kind of philosophy, but I'm wondering how connected those two are.
I'm not sure. Is this game getting a physical release or is it digital only?
I don't know. I couldn't even
The
find a
collection.
price. So I would imagine it would seem like the kind of thing that would earn at least a limited run physical release.
Yeah, that's
but
kinda what
I
I'm
haven't
thinking.
heard. Yeah. Would be a nice little physical game to
I
have.
looked it
though.
up. The head of, sorry,
Go
I
ahead.
looked it up. The former head of Team Ninja's Tomonobu Itagaki.
Hmm.
I couldn't remember the name of the guy, but he was kind of a rock star there in the game world for a while.
Yeah, definitely. So the next game we have on the list is Legend of Mana, which they're doing a little bit of upgrading to, if I remember from the direct.
Oh yeah,
That comes out in June. What's up?
looks good.
Yeah,
Oh, it looks. This is one I'm interested in.
definitely. Me too. And then finally, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD coming July 16th with some really, really sweet looking custom Zelda Joy-Con. I got
And
my
button controls.
I got my pair pre-ordered at GameStop. Thank you to John, who posted the link just as I was looking on Discord, because those things are a little difficult to get on a pre-order now. They're hard to come by, which is a shame.
I'm interested to see how that's going to work with the controls.
Yeah, they showed off just like 2 seconds of what they did, and they basically assigned motion control swipes to the right stick.
That
So I
makes sense.
think it's going to be some kind of like flicking motions. I would imagine that would feel better than like a full sweep over.
It's going to ruin my joysticks.
Yeah, right.
But you could also play motion controls with Joy-Cons if
Yeah.
you want.
So
Oh,
They left those intact.
well then I need to get a Joy-Con or two
yeah, for sure.
because I'm a Switch Lite person.
Oh, hopefully you can find some of the Skyward Sword ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hate myself that much to go through that torture. It's like trying to find a PlayStation 5 right now.
Yeah. Almost worse.
Or rather, trying to find a PlayStation 5 back in December because I think they're starting to.
It's
out
still
more.
pretty. It's still pretty hard. They still
Is it?
sell
I
out
haven't-
almost
I'm
instantly.
not gonna buy one. I was just trying to compare it to something.
Well, we can have a little discussion here too about our thoughts on. There's like kind of a larger conversation going on around the interwebs about how Nintendo tends to like charge full prices for re-releasing games that kind of just came out a little bit, and even like raising the
Yeah.
price in some instances. Like another part of this direct is the re-release of Miitopia.
Miitopia.
Yeah, which is like a Me-based RPG game. They are re-releasing it for the Switch. It was $40 on the 3DS. They are releasing it on the Switch at $50. The difference being that, as far as I've seen, there's some pretty major visual upgrades happening to make Miitopia look good on the Switch. So I don't mind that so much. Skyward
Well,
Sword.
Well, not to sound like a broken record, but companies don't like getting less money.
Well, Miitopia looks. This is the one that bothered me more than Skyward Sword
Yeah.
because, yeah, it looks smoother, but Miitopia wasn't ever a like graphical powerhouse even on the 3DS.
Right.
And I think something happened because when this game first listed, Best Buy had this game for $60. So, because I mentioned something about it, and by the time I mentioned it, they had already changed it to $50.
Maybe they just didn't
So,
know
like,
the
I think-
price, so they had to update their system.
Yeah, that's possible, but even at $50, it's like this is still a 3DS game with no, at least no updates or changes that they showed on
Right.
the trailer during the direct.
Well, and they were posting
So
too.
that one's kind of hard to swallow.
Yeah, they were posting too how the digital version of Skyward Sword is still available on the Wii eShop for $20.
The Wii U.
Wow.
The Wii U eShop, yeah. So like it's not in HD, and you have to play it with a Wii remote on a Wii U. So like it's kind of like is the graphical upgrade and the portability of the new game worth $40? is the question. I think it is. Yeah, I agree with Adam, and it just kind of has been a conversation happening.
To me, it's a Zelda game, so it'll always be $60.
Yeah,
it'll always be the price, the current going price of a new game on that console, just because it's Zelda.
And Nintendo knows the value of their IP.
They re-released Link to the Past on GameCube and Game Boy Advance, and they were that was a old game, and it released for the same price as what a modern game priced for.
Yeah,
because people eat that up.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
for good reason.
Doesn't matter if it's full price.
That's what I'm saying. How many of us are going to buy Skyward Sword HD or have already?
Well, and also,
especially since it's
Skyward
one of the
Sword,
few Zelda games that I've never finished. I need to finish it.
Skyward Sword is currently the #1 best, highest pre-order numbers for any Switch game on Amazon. And so that tells me that there is a larger conversation going on around how this is crappy of Nintendo to do this, but there's a large silent majority that will just buy it because it's Zelda and doesn't care.
Yep.
And Nintendo knows that, and that's the audience they're going for. So if you already own it on the Wii, then don't buy it on the Switch. If you're so that's kind of my thing.
The thing is that this doesn't happen anywhere else but Nintendo. It does. The situation happens, but the numbers don't happen anywhere else.
Right.
So if we were to take a peek at what the new Dark Souls remaster, or Demon Souls remaster for PS5, if you look at its sales numbers versus what Skyward Sword will do, because Demon Souls is a very popular game on other consoles. But I guarantee that its numbers are not going to be anywhere near the sales numbers of Skyward Sword.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And there's lots of people that would argue that Demon Souls is a better game than Skyward Sword.
Mm-hmm.
It probably is.
That's what I'm saying. Nintendo, this happens with Nintendo all the time.
It's just the value of their IP.
Other companies don't hold that valuable IP as tightly as Nintendo does.
This also brings up a larger issue that I was having a conversation with Andros on his Discord about, where there are a few issues in the game industry related to crunch, burnout of development staff, and studio closures after a game releases because there's no money to pay to keep the studio open to make another game. And I don't think, to my knowledge, that's been an issue for Nintendo. And what may or may not be related,
company closed.
Right? What may or may not be related to that is the fact that Breath of the Wild is still a $60 MSRP game. It goes on sale, but if you walk into any random store at any random day, it's a $60 game, and that's a 4-year-old game now. No other publisher developer does that. They are racing to the bottom as far as price goes, and I think that hurts. That hurts it kind of hurts everyone. It's nice to get a cheap game, but what are we sacrificing on a larger scale, that? You know what I mean? What are we really paying for by having those games so cheap? It's great for the consumer, but you know what I mean? Does that what I'm saying make sense? Nintendo has the most valuable IP, and they make people pay for it, so they're able to run their business in a better way.
On the other side of that coin, Nintendo also isn't afraid to push a game out if it's not ready, and they're more willing to give you, make you wait a little bit longer to get a better quality game.
Right.
They don't think the game's done. They're not just going to push it out.
Right.
Where other game studios, as we can clearly see all the time nowadays, they push out games that are not even close to ready.
Right.
And then you get a PR miss, and then now you're giving refunds for games instead of making money on games.
Yeah, there's also just a different, I feel like, and this is coming from being a gamer for so long and working in gaming retail for so long, that Nintendo consumers are kind of a different breed, and the reason why they can get away with, this is kind of a theory of mine, but the reason why they can get away with something like Breath of the Wild still being $60 rather than dropping down to a $20 player's choice or whatever is that if you've owned a Switch for 3 years or however long that game's been out now, you bought that game the nanosecond that you were able to.
Mm-hmm.
And the people paying $60 for a 3 or 4 year old game don't care because they are just now getting into, if I bought a Switch now, heck yeah, I'd pay $60 for Breath of the Wild because I never played it. It's a brand new experience for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's my theory behind why Nintendo can get away with that.
They have a lot of exclusives.
Fan base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yep.
Their IPs are exclusive, and Nintendo fans
helps.
are going to pay full price for the game. And, there's still people buying new consoles, and they're going to pay $60 for Zelda because it's Zelda.
Yep.
And it's weird because other game developers, Sony and Microsoft have exclusives as well, but they don't do this. Even good Sony exclusives will drop down to the $30 price range not even 2 months after they release.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because unless they've changed things, Sony has it to where there's literally a number of games sold, and once they hit that number, then it goes greatest hits or whatever. I think greatest hits is the Sony one. So
to me,
they were the only ones that did that. And again, I don't know if it's that way anymore, but that's how. I'm from conversations with a Sony employee, so unless they were just completely BSing me, they actually have a certain number of, once they hit it, it's like a record going platinum or something. Once you hit a certain number of sales, they drop the price. It turns into greatest hits at that point.
Right. I think that was true for Nintendo back when they had that too.
I'm not a business major or anything of that matter, but I would think that if you're selling your consoles at a loss, that software sales are going to be your bread and butter, and they're going to be really important to you. You'd think you would want to try to hold on to that retail value of that game for as long as possible.
What if
drop it down in price as soon as it comes out?
That's true. Also, John, what if your only business was video games and you didn't have an entire computer wing or entire consumer electronics wing to feed money into the whole conglomerate?
If Microsoft was only Xbox, it wouldn't exist anymore.
Yeah, Nintendo is in a very unique position in the industry. Also, they've been running a successful company for 130 years. So, correct. I think we could all learn from Nintendo instead of criticize Nintendo. But I will stop being
Nintendo is loaded.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Nintendo has so much money. A article from 2019 says that they're the second most cash rich company in Japan.
I think they're the first. They're the first now. I think it's.
That was an old article that I just pulled up really quick. But yeah, they have so much cash on hand. They could just completely fail. I'm not talking about a Wii U. It was kind of weird, kind of iffy. They could bomb an entire console generation and still have cash on hand and be nowhere near being in any financial trouble.
Incredible.
I can't completely I can't remember, but the Nintendo dads just talked about this with the last earnings call for Nintendo, and I know Jesse talked about how much cash they had on hand, and I'm almost positive he said that they're the number one with cash in Japan right now.
They may be now with the Switch sales because it's been pretty bonkers.
Oh man, most recent software sales are even crazier.
It's almost 9 billion. That's the most recent number that I can find right now. I'm sure there's more recent data than that, but
they had 29 million sellers just last year alone on their console.
Jeez.
I am very much looking forward to a lot of what Nintendo's bringing this year. From what they revealed to this Direct, even just outside of retro stuff, they have a lot of Breath of the Wild 2 news coming this year. They promised us, and I'm looking forward to that. So, good. There was also a little bit of a Blizzard not just the blizzard in Texas, but the blizzard announcement.
A little bit.
And so
30-year anniversary is more than a little bit of a thing. It was a big thing for Blizzard fans.
Good.
Big thing.
It's good thing. Good to have that for you guys. I like Blizzard.
Well, as a Blizzard fan, I'm excited.
I didn't even catch the whole announcement. I have a couple things listed. Do you want to talk about some of the more exciting points of the whole shebang? Because I don't even know what they are.
No, we'll keep it retro.
Okay.
If we're talking about the Blizzard thing, I am very excited about and I haven't purchased it yet because I'm still considering, I would have liked to see some online multiplayer, but the Blizzard collection that is out now,
the arcade collection, yeah,
Blizzard Arcade Collection, which includes 2 of my favorite Super Nintendo games, Rock and Roll Racing and Lost Vikings. Rock and Roll Racing being one that it might be a toss-up between that and Uniracers, but so many hours with friends playing Rock and Roll Racing, like all-nighters playing that game. And it's just such a fun multiplayer experience. And wishful thinking, I was hoping for online multiplayer, particularly right now with COVID still being a thing. I don't do a lot of couch co-op or couch multiplayer, but that is just such a great game. And the updated versions, what's interesting about this collection is they've got like the original versions, but then updated versions as well that have some extra features. And I'm probably don't have time to even go into all of it, but definitely worth looking into if you are into any of these games. Lost Vikings is another one that I can't wait to get into again, which is a puzzle platformer kind of thing.
This one, it would have been awesome with online multiplayer as well.
Yeah, so kind of a missed opportunity there, but
I bet they could add it in.
I don't know, possibly. I'm sure they could if they wanted to. And then the other one is Blackthorn, which is actually one that I have never played before. And I remember being excited about it and seeing a lot of information about it in magazines, in Nintendo Power and stuff like that. But I never ended up playing it. So that I'm looking forward to experiencing as one of the really early Blizzard games. So
did you know there was a Rock and Roll Racing 2 developed by Interplay? It was just called Red Asphalt in America.
I did not know that.
I just found that out.
Such a missed opportunity.
Because I was looking up the prices of Rock and Roll Racing on price charting, and Rock and Roll Racing 2 popped up, and I was like, what? Anyway, that's like a $40 cartridge, Rock and Roll Racing. So I'm glad that they dropped this collection for people to check out the games at a reasonable price. Also Blackthorn.
Yep.
Yeah, which is fine. That is coming out on all kinds of things. That's on PC, Switch, PS4, Xbox, backwards compatible on PS5 and Xbox Series X, so it's on everything. And there's no reason not to get it because it is so fun. I really like Lost Vikings. That's probably my top pick for that collection.
Fantastic.
And then the other cool announcement they had was that the Diablo 2 Resurrected remaster of Diablo 2 is coming to everything.
Yes.
Yeah, no release date yet, but it is also coming to Switch, which they specifically announced, which is very cool.
This is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Diablo 2 is the best Diablo.
And they're doing a lot of visual upgrades to it, and everything that I've seen just is mind-blowing. It looks so good.
I can't
It looks to be like in the... it looks like the Diablo 3 engine, similar. I'm not sure if it's what it's running in, but it looks...
That's what it looks like.
It's comparable.
Definitely.
Man, this game's going to be great.
So that was all
I'll be buying this one day one.
As far as I could see, that was all the retro stuff that was announced by Blizzard in their little shindig. That was a big shindig, actually. And I think, unfortunately, because of time, we have to cut this episode off. We have a couple more smaller news items that I wanted to hit, but we can hit those next week because they're not like huge. It'll be a little.
We hit the biggies.
Here's a little sneak peeky that next week we have some fun little news items. One of them is the emulators and ROMs being playable on Plex in the cloud, which is pretty cool. I have a lot of questions about that. Like, can you run Dreamcast emulators, GameCube emulators? Which emulators are we talking about? And
not only that, but is that service owned by Atari?
The service is owned by Atari, but Plex is saying you can upload your own emulators and ROMs.
Yeah, I seen that. So that's really weird.
What does that mean specifically is my question. Cannot find any answers. So there's really not much to talk about other than that it's there. The other little piece of news is a fully playable and very buggy ROM of an early build of Star Fox Adventures, back when it was called Dinosaur Planet, has leaked online.
What?
And it's actually not an early build; it's a pretty late build on that. It is complete, but it was a build that was still made for the N64. So all the resolutions and polygons are N64 level, but it has Fox McCloud as the protagonist. So it puts itself in kind of a weird place in the timeline where, like, it's late enough where Fox McCloud was the protagonist, early enough where it's still an N64 game. So it's kind of hard to tell, like, what's going on there. But it's pretty exciting that we can get this look at a game that was like, kind of half-baked in development, and one of Rare's infamous 3D platformers, which is what their bread and butter was back in the N64 days.
Wasn't it their last Nintendo game? Am I right on that?
Yep. Last one.
There's probably a reason for that. They were like, nope, we know you worked really hard on this, but make it a Star Fox game.
Yeah, they probably weren't too happy about that, but that's all ancient history, which, you know what, ironically, is what we like to talk about here on this podcast. Yes. So, just a few announcements for the community at large. If you are still playing our Retro Rewind game, Sonic the Hedgehog, we will be wrapping up that discussion next week, and we'll be planning our larger discussion podcast. And so just keep an eye out on all the channels for that news, because I'm on vacation this week, so we couldn't do it this week, and I'm very sorry about that. We will also be picking our next Retro Rewind game next week. So, lots of fun stuff in the workies happening there. And I think that's about all the things today.
I think I got one more.
You got one?
I just wanted to throw a quick PSA out there to keep anybody that's interested in the Analog Pocket, keep eyes open, because they're supposed to be opening pre-orders again. For anyone who knows, last time, I think it was like August time frame, they opened them and they lasted like 5 seconds. Like, it was worse than a PS5. I think they're supposed to be reopening the pre-orders with the promise that there are going to be lots more, and they're also going to have anti-bot methods or precautions in place to try to prevent bots from buying large quantities of them. They even talked strangely about going through eBay and trying to find scalpers that are trying to sell pre-orders and getting them shut down as well. So
that's such a good news. That's so great.
Yeah. So hopefully they fall through and we're all able to get an Analog Pocket, because I really need one. I have a dock pre-ordered and a Game Gear adapter that I won't be able to use if I cannot get the Pocket.
Good. Yeah, definitely keep an eye out for that. And boy, is it refreshing to see a company that actually cares about its pre-order system. That is very refreshing. Glad to see that. Well, guys, Adam, thank you so much again for hopping on and being a bro. I know last week kind of got messed up, but we're back, and I'm so glad that we made that work. We have to set up that 2-player stream soon. Is there anything...
Yeah, I didn't have power last week.
Is there anything you want to plug, or any new projects you're working on, or anything you want to talk about on the cast before we go?
Nothing to plug currently. there's lots of stuff in the works on the music production side, but my only project right now, other than putting my yard back together and getting rid of halves of giant trees, is I've got a problem in my hi-fi system that I thought was blown tweeters. So I bought a new set of speakers and upgraded, of course, because I'm not going to just
lose Adam?
Buy the same thing.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, nope, he's back.
I'm not just going to buy the same thing. I'm going to upgrade.
Sorry.
So no, it's okay. I'm here. But it didn't turn out to be a speaker problem. So now I have great set of new speakers, but I still have the same audio problem. So I'm going to head down to one of my favorite places in Austin, End of an Ear, records and music related stuff and stereo stuff. And they're going to help me troubleshoot, and I'll probably end up buying a receiver because that seems like that's what the problem is. But that's my current project. That's retro stuff. The receiver that I'm looking at's from like 79. So
hey,
that's retro.
Nice. Hey,
Yeah.
We love all kinds of collections out here, even vintage records and audio equipment and stuff. We are all about whatever you are all about. And then John, anything else on your front?
Not that I could think of.
Okay.
I think I got everything covered on my end.
Good. Well, I know I'm on vacation this week, but we will be 100% back to normal next week. And thanks for putting up with any audio weirdness as I'm traveling. And thanks for listening to the Retrologic podcast. We are proudly part of the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. And if you like what you hear, you can check me out on Twitter at Retrologic.games. You're also welcome to jump into our friendly and 100% non-toxic Discord community. The link is in my Twitter bio.
It's super wholesome.
It is. It really is. We love just staying positive and talking about games and being excited for each other when we get a good haul. That's really what it's all about.
And lots of plock.
Lots of plock.
The plock talk is nonstop.
Plock talk. Nonstop plock talk.
You can find all the Retrologic things at the website Retrologic.games. So, thanks again for listening, and we'll check you next time.
Adios.
Bye now.